Welcome back. Well, the use of cell phone towers to trick phones into revealing private data was the subject of a just completed investigation by Canada's Privacy Commissioner. Let's find out what he learned. Daniel Therrien joins us in the studio. Welcome to the program, Commissioner.
Hello.
They're called Stingrays. Help me understand what they are and what the risk is to our privacy.
Stingray is a commercial name. These devices come, there are a number of brands. What they do is to mimic cell towers so that they can intercept the identifiers of cell phones. So they do not, at least the devices that we investigated and that the RCMP uses, they do not intercept the actual communications on the devices, but the identifier. So their purpose is to find the location of suspects. And the difficulty from a privacy perspective is that when the devices collect information in the vicinity of the device, they collect the information about the suspect's phone, but they also collect information about all the other phones that are operating in the area. So innocent third parties whose device numbers are collected by the police.
All right, so the RCMP have used this. Apparently, you found they used them illegally, what, a handful of times?
In 6 cases. So I would say this is largely a good news story, actually, for the RCMP.
That's a first.
In that, so we dealt with a complaint by a group called Open Media. Open Media wanted to know whether the RCMP actually used the device, so we were able to find out that they do, and the RCMP, in the meantime, acknowledged that they do use these devices. The complaint also dealt with, are these devices used lawfully? And we were able to determine that the way in which the RCMP uses them is lawful. And finally, of importance for most Canadians, we found that the RCMP has methods to protect and segregate the information about people other than the suspects so that that information is not used by the police, it is not accessed by the police, except with judicial authorization.
All right, so they need a warrant.
They have
got
a
them
warrant
in almost everything.
in almost every case.
I mean, sometimes they must be in a rush. They must we need to track a suspect now. If someone did something here, they
Absolutely.
need to, how do you get to a warrant in time?
There's courts can be available quickly, or in some cases, there's this concept of exigent circumstances, which is a legal authority for the police to act. So what we found was that in 125, out of 125 investigations, warrants were obtained in all but 13 cases, but in 6 cases, there was no lawful authorization. So in half a dozen cases, out of 125, there was no lawful authorization for the use of the device.
All right. I want to talk about another one. There's a big security breach in the U.S. Equifax is a credit monitoring agency of some renown. Big hack went down there. Dozens of millions, basically, a lot of millions. Tell us what you think of that and what you can do, what you're going to do about it, because there's been some spillover into Canada, as I understand it.
Yes. Well, obviously, this is a symptom of a larger phenomenon about privacy breaches. We see that regularly. The concern here is that this company collects and has a lot of very sensitive information, social insurance numbers, information that can be used for identity theft. In the U.S., the reports are that about half the population is affected by this breach. In Canada, we don't have the exact numbers. We did contact the company. They have been cooperating with us, but it is absolutely an issue of concern, and we will investigate this matter.
Okay, I know that Canadian Automobile, CAA, basically says their members should be aware of that. There's about 10,000 or so there, so something to keep an eye on. All right.
Absolutely.
Commissioner Therrien, thanks for coming in. Appreciate that as always.
Welcome.
All right.